Hello, everybody, and welcome to probably a video that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, and that's talk about 10 of my favorite performances that I have loved over the years in comic book slash superhero movies. Now, this isn't necessarily a top 10. This is something that I kind of want to talk about because there's a lot of performances in superhero movies that I've loved over the years. But I want to give you guys 10 just to start things off. But before I do that, I want to give you guys a few honorable mentions. First off, I felt I have to talk about this guy because if I didn't, I would have gotten a lot of crap from people. And that's Christian Bale as Batman in Christopher Nolan's excellent Dark Knight trilogy. Um, I really loved him as Bruce Wayne. I still love him as Bruce Wayne, as his iteration of Bruce Wayne. But when I first saw him as Batman in those movies, I had mixed feelings about it. But then when I watched Batman Begins for the first time in several plus years, I was like, okay, he's earned a newfound respect for me and appreciation for me as a Batman fan. So I do understand I do understand that there's a lot of people who have him as their favorite movie Batman of all time, and that's totally understandable. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Everyone's entitled to who they like, who they dislike, and stuff like that. But I really did like Christian Bale as Batman. Next honorable mention is Sir Anthony Hopkins as the All-Father of Asgard, Odin Borson, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise. When I went to the theater to see the first Thor movie back in 2011, I was completely and utterly blown away that Sir Anthony Hopkins, not only of his portrayal, but the fact that he was just simply cast to play that character. I'm like, oh crap, Marvel's going big time. This was before the MCU became as big as it is today, even though it hasn't been as good as it was back then. But that was before MCU was starting to get going, started to become a good movie franchise, at least in my opinion, anyway. But I thought Sir Anthony Hopkins really did the character of Odin for justice. I think I think it should be among the most beloved portrayal performances of his career, and I think he did a great job as the character. The final honorable mention that I will be talking about is Bruce Willis in the M. Night Shyamalan superhero movie from 2000, Unbreakable. If you haven't seen Unbreakable, go watch it. It is an amazing movie. I thought Bruce Willis delivered one of the absolute profound greatest performances of his career in that movie. He was absolutely interesting, compelling, really badass in that movie. He was just all around really good in that movie. He was just outstanding in that film. He really totally was. He totally was, man. I mean that's to me an all-time great movie, Unbreakable. Now, to start things off with the official list, I'm going to give you guys 10. Okay. Now, I said this isn't necessarily a top 10, but this is something I really wanted to do. The first thing I'm going to talk about on the list is Ron Perlman as Hellboy in the Guillermo del Toro movies. Now, I haven't seen the one with David Harbour, but I heard that movie was atrocious. But I did absolutely remember watching the Guillermo del Toro Hellboy movies. Hellboy from, when did Hellboy? 2004, 2005. And Hellboy 2, The Golden Army in 2008. I remember loving both movies. But the one thing that really got me into those movies, as well as the character of Hellboy, was Ron Perlman's portrayal of that character. And I thought he did such an amazing job as that character. And I'm like, yo, this Hellboy character is badass. Ron Perlman's doing a great job making me like him. So yeah. But yeah, that freaking is awesome. The next up on the list is Jackie Earle Haley as Rorschach in Zack Snyder's Watchmen from 2009. Now, for those of you who do not know, Watchmen is one of my favorite comic book movies, superhero movies of all time. As a matter of fact, it is probably, if not arguably, my favorite DC Comics movie of all time, simply because of how I thought the writing was great, I thought the storytelling was great, I thought the characters were great. My favorite of the Watchmen is Rorschach, simply because I thought how cool, badass, complex he was. One of the best lines in the whole movie was the one where Rorschach is in jail, getting his food, and after beats up this black dude that tries to shank him, he goes, "So you got it all wrong. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me." And it was so freaking badass. I was like, that's my man right there. So Jackie Earl Haley as Rorschach is second on the list. Next up on the list is the great Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto, the master of magnetism in the Fox X-Men films. Now, don't get me wrong, I did love Michael Fassbender's portrayal of the character, younger iteration of the character in the franchise. But when I think of Magneto, other than the one that voiced him, the actor that voiced him in the 1992 animated X-Men animated series, when I think of Magneto personally, I think of Sir Ian McKellen. I think he really did a great job as that character. I think he delivered an excellent performance as that character. I think his performance as the character is one of the best he's ever done in his career. And I think his performance as Magneto will stand the test of time for many, many years. He was easily one of the best characters in that franchise. Next up on the list is his best friend, Sir Patrick Stewart as Professor Charles Xavier, the go-to leader and founder of the X-Men. Now, as much as I love the guy who voiced him in the 92 animated series, X-Men animated series, excuse me, when I think of Professor X, I will always think of Patrick Stewart. To me, he looks like him, and his voice to me fits him perfectly. I mean, Sir Patrick Stewart not only portrayed the character, in the Fox X-Men series, he even reprised the role in probably one of my favorite MCU movies in recent years, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Plus, he voiced him in video games such as X2 Wolverine's Revenge, X-Men Next Dimension, and the X-Men Legends games, and it was great in all three of them. Sir Patrick Stewart's an all-time great actor. So let's see. That's 4 down. Next up on the list is is Gary Oldman as Commissioner James Gordon in Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, or as it's called, the Dark Knight trilogy. As much as I like Christian Bale as Batman, if there was one character I actually like Mike Caine as Alfred better. I like Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox better. But if there was one character that really, really stood out to me the most in that movie, was the great Gary Oldman as Commissioner James Gordon. He was awesome in that damn movie. He was freaking incredible. Throughout the trilogy, he did that character sweet, sweet justice. No disrespect to the actor who portrayed him in the Tim Burton and Joe Schumacher Batman films, but Gary Oldman's Commissioner Gordon to me was was given more stuff to work with, and not David Moss. Let me look him up. Oh. Oh, you're saying LOL. But Commissioner James Gordon was one of the best characters in that movie in the franchise, and Gary Oldman did who I personally be the best cop in the DC universe. Sweet justice. Just really made him a badass in that movie, in that franchise. Next up on the list is good old J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. Now, obviously, when we first saw J.K. Simmons, J. Jonah Jameson, he portrayed him in the original Spider-Man films that were directed by Sam Raimi, starring Tobey Maguire, but he also played the character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, what can I say about J.K. Simmons other than the fact that it's also, I consider to be perfect casting, and the guy really, he nails that character completely. I mean, J.K. Simmons is one of the greatest actors of all time, at least in my opinion anyway, and he did a wonderful job. I mean, you could say the guy has not only done a great job as J. Jonah Jameson, he's done a perfect job as that character. I mean, he's nailed that character. His portrayal nails that character completely. Anyways, next up on the list is, this may be a surprise to some of you guys, but the next person on the list is Michael Chiklis as my personal favorite Fantastic Four member of all time, Benjamin Jacob Grimm, aka The Thing, in the Tim Story directed Fantastic Four movies from 2005 and 2007. Now, I know the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies aren't exactly everyone's cup of tea, but I have a soft spot for the first one. Even though it's been years since I saw it completely, I remember having a good time watching it as a young kid. It was one of my favorite movies growing up, and one of my favorite. And what I was impressed with was not only that I thought, first off, I'd say Ian Grufford was an amazing Reed Richards. Chris Evans, I thought, did a great job as John Storm, even though I think a lot of us kind of like him even more as Captain America Steve Rogers in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But Jessica Alba thought did an efficient / decent job as the Invisible Woman. But of all the characters of the Fantastic Four that really sunk in with me the most, other than those performances, was Michael Chiklis as Ben Grimm. Say whatever you want about the suit. I know it made him claustrophobic, but I thought that the suit's design was in the right place. What I love about Michael Chiklis' performance is that he grew up a fan of that character. He grew up reading the Fantastic Four comic books. So you can tell right from not only did he understand the character, but he knew who the character was, and he loved and respected the character. And he said, and even though his thing form was better off being computer generated, he wanted to be makeup. So, but he was awesome as Ben Grimm. I thought it was one of the best performances of his career. I think even though the 2005 and 2007 Fantastic Four aren't exactly massively beloved by fans, I still think he's one of the most. I think his portrayal of Ben Grimm is still beloved to this day, and I don't blame people, because he was really freaking good as that character. Next up on the list is this one was very difficult for me. But another one of my favorite superhero movie performances of all time is Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man in the Raimi trilogy. Now, I know a lot of people have argued who they felt was the best Spider-Man, and while I do look back at Tobey Maguire's performance, while it isn't completely faithful to the comics, he still did a great enough job in getting me into that character. The reason why Tobey Maguire is my favorite live-action Spider-Man is not because I think he did the best job, but he got me into that character. And that's simple enough, because growing up, I really didn't know a whole lot about Spider-Man. I didn't know jack shit about the character until I went to see the Raimi movie, until I went to see the 2002 movie, back when I was 7, back in May of 2002. And after I saw that movie, I became a Spider-Man fan since, and one of the biggest reasons was not only Sam Raimi himself, but Tobey Maguire's performance as that character. Next up on the list is Michael Keaton's portrayal of Batman in the Tim Burton movies. Now, yes, I know he somewhat reprised the role in the Flash movie, which was, in my opinion, the best thing about that film. But to me, when I think of Batman, other than Kevin Conroy and Adam West, is Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton, I think, did an amazing job as Batman and as Bruce Wayne. He was a really good fighter, a solid fighter, not as brutal and thorough like Robert Pattinson's or Ben Affleck's Batman. But I still think that Michael Keaton did a really good job showcasing Batman's fighting abilities, as well as using his gadgets and equipment in the fight. Plus, Michael Keaton, in my opinion, is a great freaking actor, so I can't really badmouth him for his performance as Batman. I know some people see him more as Beetlejuice, but to me, he'll always be Batman, other than Kevin Conroy and Adam West. Next up, I had to talk about this man. Yes, I know the movies were before my time, but I watched them, reruns of them on television, and that's Christopher Reeve as Superman in the Donnerverse Superman movies, in the Superman quadrilogy, especially in particular the first two movies, especially the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. The best way I can describe Christopher Reeve's performance as Superman is simply not only masterful, but timeless and legendary. He nailed that character. He nailed the character of Superman. He nailed the goofiness, the shyness, the geekiness of Clark Kent. And he nailed the heroics, Boy Scout persona of Superman. His performance will be still, I still think to this day, Christopher Reeve's portrayal of Superman will still be beloved and talked about for many more years to come. Now, the final person on this list, he may be my favorite superhero actor of all time. That is not for certain yet. But I'm so freaking happy after a hiatus, he came back to portray the character in the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine movie. That's right. I'm talking about Mr. Hugh Jackman as Marvel's ultimate badass, James Logan Howlett, aka the Wolverine, in the Fox X-Men films. My first exposure to Wolverine was through the 1992 animated series, X-Men animated series, in which he was voiced. Matter of fact, he's still voiced by Cal Dodd. But what really got me into that character was Hugh Jackman's performance as that character. And Hugh Jackman, while his performance isn't completely faithful to the comic books, he still, in my opinion, has done an amazing job in making that character interesting, compelling, and more importantly, badass in the movies. And I still think to this day, while I think he's been great since the first X-Men film back in 2000, I still think his greatest performance as Wolverine is in the 2017 film Logan, which I consider in a lot of ways to be an absolute profound masterpiece. And you know, but I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a bit. But Hugh Jackman really did a great job in showcasing Wolverine's compassion, his struggles to control his berserker rages, his anger, his frustrations, and the badassery. He does a great job showcasing those aspects of Wolverine, and that's why he's still beloved to this day as that character. Not only by me, but by millions upon millions of fans worldwide. So that's it. Um, Hope you guys enjoyed my list. Let's see what it's only 2:18. Wow, it's only 2:18. I did about 18 minutes of this, and I got 3 people watching this. All done with what? No, I'm going to think about. No, Charles, not the. Yes, I did like Michael Coulter as Luke Cage, but these are superhero movies that I'm talking about, not TV shows. Chiklis, yes, Chiklis is a very good actor. He was also really good in that football movie with Jim Caviezel, When the Game Stands Tall. If you haven't watched it, I recommend you watch it. It's a great freaking movie. It's one of the best movies I've seen personally. It's a really good movie. You should do a list on shows. I will do that. Yes, I'm definitely thinking about doing that in the future. Thank you for the suggestion, Jets mess. Um, you know what? Since I got plenty of time left, so I got plenty of time. When I copy the link and open up for some chat. Yeah. Dad, I just learned that Michael Chiklis is 60. He was born in 63. He's a good actor. People still talk about his portrayal of Ben Grimm. Even Preston liked his portrayal.
He was very good in the commission.
He played the commissioner, right?
No, he was with Boston. He was a Boston, right? Remember, honey? The TV show we used to see down there?
Mom?
I'll slow it down, please. I think he was not Boston.
Well, he is from Boston, I think. No, but Daddy wants to talk to you.
What was the name of that? Was it the commission? The show with Michael Chiklis where he was the commissioner in Boston, police commissioner? Okay. Michael Chiklis.
Yeah.
Right?
He used to be the commish.
The commissioner. That was out of Boston, right? I think.
Yeah.
No, he's saying that Charles saying that he's 60 years old. Yeah.
Right.
He's 60 years old, Mom.
Oh.
Okay, Dad, make sure your shoes are down.
Oh, right now. Right now.
You should also do a female list. Female list for what? Jets, mess. Female list for what? Performances? Oh, I will do that. I'll definitely include some females if I decide to do another top 10, another 10 list. Excuse me. Oh, performances. I'll do that. I'll definitely include some chicks on my list. You know, especially in TV shows. But yeah. Does anybody want to come on? I'm not gonna. You know what? I'll end the stream. Peace out, everybody.